Welcome back to my channel. We're breaking down Arman Tsarukyan's reaction following his much-discussed match against Shara Magomedov, also known as Shara Bullet. After weeks of build-up and excitement, the bout ultimately left many fans disappointed, as the fight ended without a clear winner. The matchup was scheduled under special rules, with only one round and a 6-minute time limit. A submission was required for a victory, and when neither fighter was able to secure one, the contest was ruled a draw. Many viewers were unaware of these rules going into the fight, which added to the frustration surrounding the outcome. Despite the result, Tsarukyan did show moments of dominance, particularly when he was able to lift and control Magomedov during grappling exchanges. However, the submission never came, and the fight concluded without a decisive finish. Following the match, Tsarukyan spoke with Red Corner MMA and shared his honest thoughts. He explained that he expected the fight to end either with him securing a submission or going to a draw. According to Tsarukyan, he never felt in danger of losing because he anticipated Magomedov would avoid wrestling and focus on defense throughout the match. Tsarukyan stated that his strategy was to wear Magomedov down before finishing him, but that plan never fully materialized. He criticized Magomedov's approach, claiming that Shara spent much of the fight staying on the ropes and defending, rather than engaging in active grappling exchanges. Despite this, Tsarukyan acknowledged that Magomedov executed his game plan effectively and admitted that he himself underperformed slightly. Tsarukyan also revealed new details about the bout's format. According to him, the match was initially planned to be longer, but Magomedov only agreed to compete for 5 minutes. As a compromise, both sides settled on a 6-minute match, which ultimately limited Tsarukyan's ability to fully implement his strategy. The conversation then shifted to a potential grappling match with UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. Tsarukyan responded to recent comments from Makhachev, who stated he has no interest in competing in grappling matches outside the UFC due to financial reasons. Tsarukyan agreed, saying that such a match is unlikely in the near future because Makhachev earns substantial money in the UFC, and no external organization could realistically afford to pay him the same amount. UFC welterweight contender Garry has made a bold and confident statement, declaring that he believes he will defeat Islam Makhachev and take the championship belt if the opportunity ever presents itself. Garry made it clear that in his view there would be absolutely no excuses once the fight is over. According to Garry, a victory over Makhachev would be undeniable. He emphasized Makhachev is widely regarded as the greatest pound-for-pound fighter in the world today, and beating him would silence any doubts or criticism. Garry stated that when he wins, he will have defeated the very best, leaving no room for explanations, justifications, or attempts to discredit the outcome. Garry stressed that fans and analysts often search for reasons to downplay losses, but he believes that will not be possible in this case. He insisted that there would be no factors to point to, no conditions to blame, and no circumstances that could be used to diminish his achievement. In his mind, a win would be straightforward and final. The Irish fighter also addressed a common narrative surrounding Makhachev, particularly claims about size advantages or physical mismatches. Garry dismissed those arguments entirely, stating that Makhachev is not undersized in any way and is in fact a physically strong and imposing fighter. He made it clear that size would not be an acceptable excuse after the fight. Garry continued by saying that once he becomes world champion, the conversation will inevitably shift. Instead of questioning how the result happened, people will be forced to acknowledge that the better fighter won on the night. He believes critics often struggle to accept that reality, preferring to search for external explanations rather than admitting superiority. He concluded by reiterating that when he defeats Islam Makhachev and captures the world title, there will be no excuses from anyone, anywhere in the world. In Garry's view, the result will speak for itself. He believes the narrative will no longer be about circumstances, controversy, or luck, but about one simple truth, that he was the better fighter. Garry's confidence reflects his growing belief that he belongs at the very top of the sport. Whether or not the matchup ever happens, his comments have already sparked debate and added fuel to discussions about potential future super fights in the UFC. Team Khabib has once again found itself at the center of controversy following recent comments made by former UFC heavyweight and podcast host Brendan Schaub. During a recent episode of his podcast, Schaub openly accused fighters associated with Khabib Nurmagomedov's camp of using performance-enhancing drugs, reigniting a debate that has surfaced multiple times over the years. Schaub pointed to several past incidents involving fighters who have trained alongside Khabib. While he acknowledged that Khabib himself has never tested positive for banned substances, Schaub emphasized that multiple athletes connected to the camp have been flagged in the past. He referenced cases such as Arman Nurmagomedov, whose failed test was later linked to a prescription medication, as well as other fighters who were suspended under anti-doping regulation. Additional names often mentioned in these discussions include Shara Magomedov and Islam Makhachev, both of whom faced sanctions during their careers. Although some of these cases were attributed to tainted supplements or medical prescriptions, critics argue that the frequency of such incidents has raised eyebrows within the MMA community. Schaub took a particularly blunt approach, suggesting that performance-enhancing drug use is widespread across professional sports and not limited to one specific team or region. However, he claimed that Khabib's camp has been especially careless, stating that fighters associated with the team were repeatedly caught because they were not good at avoiding detection. Schaub went as far as to say that many camps are engaging in similar behavior, but others are simply better at covering their tracks. He also made reference to substances commonly discussed in anti-doping conversations, including EPO and other banned compounds, while brushing off specific cases as less important than the broader issue of cheating in elite-level sports. His comments were delivered in a sarcastic and provocative tone, which quickly sparked reactions across social media and MMA forums. Supporters of Khabib's camp pushed back strongly against Schaub's accusations. Many fans argue that the majority of failed tests involving fighters from the team were either medically justified or the result of contaminated supplements, not intentional cheating. They also point out that anti-doping systems exist to catch violations and that punishments were served accordingly. The debate now continues among fans and analysts, with opinions split on whether Schaub's comments highlight a real issue within the sport or cross the line into baseless accusations. As always, the discussion raises broader questions about anti-doping enforcement, athlete accountability, and the realities of competition at the highest level of mixed martial arts. Former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov has voiced strong concerns about the current direction of the UFC, making it clear that he is unhappy with Dana White and the organization's treatment of fighters. Speaking during a recent interview at the World Sports Summit in Dubai, Khabib shared his perspective on what he believes are troubling changes within the promotion. According to Khabib, the UFC has shifted its internal policies over the past few years in ways that no longer align with fairness or sporting merit. He stated that mixed martial arts should be built on competition and equality, but he feels the organization has moved away from those principles. One of his main criticisms was the way fighters' contracts are handled. Khabib pointed out that many athletes are being released despite never losing a fight in the UFC. Instead of renewing contracts with undefeated or successful fighters, the promotion simply allows their deals to expire. In his view, this sends the wrong message and undermines the idea that performance inside the cage is what truly matters. He emphasized that someone needed to speak up about the issue, saying that it was something he could not stay silent about. Khabib explained that when he entered the UFC in 2012, he was told that his name was difficult to pronounce and that he needed a nickname to be marketable. He chose the eagle as a symbol of Dagestan, but he reminded everyone that, over time, fans learned his real name through performance and consistency. Khabib contrasted that experience with what he sees today, where he believes the UFC prioritizes fighters who are outspoken, controversial, or focused on entertainment rather than pure competition. He criticized the emphasis on trash talk, social media popularity, appearance, and image, arguing that these factors should not outweigh skill and results. In his opinion, the UFC increasingly favors fighters who create headlines outside the cage instead of those who quietly dominate inside it. Khabib acknowledged that entertainment is part of the sport, but insisted it should never come at the cost of fairness. He concluded by stating that MMA should always be about the best fighting the best, not about who dances better, talks louder, or has the most followers online. Khabib reaffirmed his belief that the sport must remain fair and merit-based, and that fighters deserve respect for their performances rather than their popularity. Khabib's comments have sparked discussion across the MMA community, with many fans praising him for standing up for fighters and calling for a more balanced approach between competition and entertainment.